This is how to in the bag and why you should in the bag. I'm a nobody, and you probably are too, but why should you make an in the bag video? You don't have to share it with your friends. You can keep it for yourself because most people don't care. But we should care about what we throw. That is the important part of why we should make it in the bag, and that's to help us justify why we have these discs in our bag. We carry a lot of stuff in our bags that's just useless. And a majority of people that play on one or two courses, maybe three. You don't need a bag that's for every situation, and you don't necessarily need a wholly rounded bag for every shot type. You need a bag that's situational to your play style. So we're gonna go over this cool idea. I'm gonna share some of my things. You might sound grumpy. They might sound grumpy because I tend to be a grumpy individual. I'm really not. But I gotta take my cart discs and move them over to my bag. And like, okay, well let's just go over it because why not? What? So when I build my bag out, I change my bag quite a bit, but my bag's built to be able to play 5 or 6 different courses here locally, and I want it to cover a majority of my shots. I can throw backhand and forehand, which is very beneficial. Somebody who throws forehand only is going to have a completely different bag style than me, and somebody that throws backhand only is going to have a completely different bag style. So if you're backhand only, you need to really make sure that your disc selection's flushed out for all the shots that you need. While I can take one disc and make it do more with the forehand. And if you don't have a forehand, you can only throw backhand. I'd really suggest at least getting 150 foot forehand, something nice and smooth. That way you have a little bit extra utility in your bag without having to really worry about some really goofy shots. Because when you get pinched and you need to throw out and you can only throw forehand and you suck at forehand, nobody really judges you, but they're really judging you. So let's go over this. Camera setup is fantastic. If y'all saw how my camera was set up, because my tripod is in my car and I'm too lazy to go get it. It is balancing on top of my light right now. So how you set up your putters, how you set up your bag, all of these things is up to you. I'm going to give you some guidelines on how I set up my bag, and maybe it'll help you improve your game, because one of the main things that people do is they put too many discs in their bags. They give themselves too many different choices when they go to throw. And how often you say, well, I should have thrown that other disc. Well, it's probably the disc you pulled out of your bag first, and then you changed your mind, and then you threw the shot, and then you screwed it up. Well, if you only had one choice and you learned to manipulate the disc just a little bit more so you can work that disc, you would probably have a little bit better chance. Coffee's fantastic, by the way. So, how many putters you carry is up to you. I carry 2 now. I used to carry 8. Well, why would you carry 8 putters? I used to like to be able to practice putt at any moment while playing on the course by myself, so I had 8 putters. So I have 2 putting putters. I have 2 utility putters that I also putt with. These are spins. These are pilots. Yes, that's a black pilot. If you like pilots, it is a black Proton pilot. Plastic, all this stuff, this is personal preference. When you pick discs to putt with, you need to decide how you're going to run them. The Proton plastics, I'm not really worried. I throw MVP. Proton's durable. If I smack a tree with this driving with my putter, I'm not really worried about it. The Proton plastic holds up really well, and you can't see it on the shelf, but well, yeah, you can right there. That right there. Nope, there. Backwards camera. Those are all pilots. I'm stocked. I'm good. So I'm just take my 2 pilots, put them in there. I like 2. If I'm throwing a putter or I'm putting with a putter that I can't drive with, I'll make sure that I have a putter in there that I can drive with, but I'll always try to at least have 2 putters. The spins are for rollers, and they're for long distance putting and Anheuser putting. I love to Anheuser putt. That's why these are in there. The blue one's more of my roller disc, and this is more of my putting disc. If it looks stupid, it's because somebody took it and they tried to dye my name off the back of it. If you find people's discs try to return them. There's usually some sort of local thing where you can return them. If somebody's name's on it, that means they probably want it back. If there's no name on it, you can still try to return it. Just saying, you know, because people really suck at returning stuff. Mid-ranges are totally up to you. Some people like a heavy mid-range game, some people don't. So for a long time I played no mid-ranges, maybe one mid-range, and I threw putters for a lot of those shots. Now I've went back to mid-ranges based on how my game works, because your game is constantly evolving and you need to make sure your bag evolves with your game. I can't believe I can talk so much on this. How you decide to do that is up to you. I love super overstable approach discs. This is a proton deflector, actually an Eclipse deflector. Forgot who did that. I think it was InShow. Yeah, it was Mike InShow. I've got a stack of these back there behind me. They're right above the chair. These things are super overstable. I can do a lot of crazy stuff with this. This is not something I'm going to drive with. This is a utility disc for me. Know when to use it, know how to use it. Deflector. Entropy is great. I think you should have an overstable putter in your bag personally. Zone, Harp, Entropy. There's got to be another good one out there that I'm not thinking of. I don't know the DD equivalent. Overstable putters will get you out of trouble. They have a lot of utility, and they're really handy sometimes in a headwind or when you got to putt long ways downhill and you know that disc is going to pick up a lot of speed and you need it to not burn. So I've got a bunch of these. I sometimes switch them out. I've got this orange one in here because my other one was not doing what I wanted it to do. Now that the weather's changing, it's warmer out. So, and then my standard assortment of mid-ranges. The Axis is out of production from MVP. This is a fantastic disc though if you like super neutral discs. The reason this is in my bag, this is my straight punch shot disc. This is also a really odd utility disc in the sense of how neutral it is. I can get it to hold a lot of really strange lines. The Vector is basically the original version. It's the core for the Axis, and it's a little bit more overstable. I can push it a little bit harder on a punch. So what I'm trying to get at when we're doing it in the bag for ourselves, a lot of people don't really necessarily care why or how, what the disc is doing. They don't care if it pops up to flat. I personally don't care. What is your justification for having this disc in your bag? Are you throwing it? This is a smooth, gliding, slight finish fade disc for me. So when I need to throw a shot, I need it to fade on its finish. That's where it is. On the forehand, it's flippy for me. So I use it actually as my forehand turnover. I am not good at forehand turnovers because I don't control them very well, but for some reason with this disc, with just the right amount of stability, I can control it. So that's why that's in my bag as well. Nate Doss Tie Buzz. Wow, there we go. We got to get the reflection right. I love this disc. I don't really care for any other buzzes. The Nate Doss ties. If you got some for sale, hit me up because I'll buy them. The plastic, everything about how this disc flies is great. If you have a lot of power, these things are good to 400 feet. Yeah, 400 feet. You can throw 400 plus with a Nate Doss Tie Buzz. I've seen some of the other ones come close. They have a tendency to not quite stay as stable. This one's pretty new, so it's a little bit more stable. I forehand it to get it to kind of go straight, or I use it for a little bit more fade than my Vector. What else we got? Okay, so one of my concepts on bags is, and it's a little bit easier with the MVP system. The MVP system has a core system, so you're looking at generally a disc and a measurement range, and then a lot of those discs are based off of that particular disc. So you'll have overstable and understable versus on those discs. So I guess I'll pull out the core discs that go along with these. All right, we'll put those off to the side here. So my suggestion when you have a bag, if you have a disc that you like, carry multiples. I never really understood the whole beat-in thing until here more recently. I don't really still care for beat-in discs, but it's really nice to have a disc that fit your hand, you always trust, you know the throw, and you know how they're going to work when they start to get beat up. So right now, I got Tesla's my favorite disc from the MVP line. I generally bag 4, and I just threw a 5th one in here for fun. The Tesla core is fantastic. This is a 9-speed. I can do a lot with this disc forehand and backhand. It's very reliable, and finding that disc for you is important. And I think that you should build your bag around a disc, not necessarily building your bag around having all the shot selections open. Allowing that disc and that field to help you get through the different scenarios that you have, so you can trust that disc. So like playing single disc rounds, find a disc you really love. Go out and play around with that. Learn all the shots you can throw with that disc or that disc and another disc, and that'll really force you to find a disc that you like. So plasma, and then the rest are fission. If you don't know what fission plastic is, it's kind of like Blizzard, but not really. This one's really old. It's flippy. And being able to throw hyzer flips again for me lately has been fantastic, because this disc is money. Controlling my angle on the hyzer flip, on the other hand, is being a little bit of fun, because this is, I don't know if it's first run, second run, whatever. This is a really old fission Tesla. This is a 153. I throw a lot of 150 and 160 class discs. The blue one is a max weight. This is a 168. When I first bought this one, it was a little weird. It's a little domier. I threw it back in the bag to see if it'll give me that flippy flight, because of how this one flew. I remember it not really cooperating with me very well. Then I've got two 150. These are identical runs. The 0 and the 1s, basically, because I couldn't remember which one was the newer one and which one was the older one. I throw these discs 16 out of 18 holes on the drive, even if it's 500 feet. Why? Because I know what these discs are going to do. I know I can control these discs. I can put them in the fairway. I can put them where I need to put them unless I fail. But, that's where we're looking at, is trying to get consistent with one disc. If you keep switching discs all the time, you'll never get consistent. You need to be able to move those discs where you need to. So that's the core of my bag, is those Teslas. Now, the inertia and the motion, yeah, that's a blank stamp. The inertia is a more understable Tesla, and the motion is a super overstable Tesla. So this is, what is it, Firebird, I think is the super overstable? Yeah, Firebird. I love this disc. This disc has a lot of utility, and it's not something you're going to drive with all the time, but when you need a disc to hook up on an Anheuser, or you need a disc to hook up quicker and sooner on your forehand or your drive, well, the Tesla's going to glide out further. This is going to give you that same reliable flight as the Tesla. It's just going to hook up quicker. That one goes in the back because I organized my discs weird. This is the disc I suggest for people to learn forehands with on the MVP lineup. The inertia is just understable enough that it will give you really long flights when you basically don't overpower it, especially on a forehand. This disc will punish you for bad forehand form. It will reward you for smooth, clean forehand form with really nice, easy 350 foot forehands. Just got to get it to hold flat. A lot of people throw a lot of super overstable discs for no reason, because they have bad forehand form, or they're throwing on an Anheuser on a forehand or backhand to get that flex instead of letting the disc do what it wants, and they're just hurting themselves. So find a disc that helps your form and helps you perform. So when my forehand starts getting a little bad, I'll bust this dude right back out again. I have a complementary disc to that one, which is the Lift. This is another 9-speed. This is the Streamline single mold. If you are a little bit feeling weird about the MVP, but you want to try it out, but you're thinking the gyro stuff's a little hokey, check out Streamline. This disc is amazing. You can throw it 500 feet if you have power. I don't have 500 feet of power. It will go 500 feet. You can throw a bunch of different lines with it, and it is a fantastic forehand disc. It is a little bit flippier than the inertia. And that has to do with the single mold versus the gyro. The gyro is going to give you a little bit different weeble wobble with it. So, Lift, awesome. I can't remember this guy's name. They did a whole series on the artwork on these. Super cool. All right, so we're gonna get into some bigger stuff. I primarily throw 9 speeds because my arm speed matches with 9 speeds. I think it's important that you throw in your arm speed range. If you've got 13, 14 speed discs in your bag and you're only throwing 350 feet, you're doing something wrong. You should go back to like 8 or 9 speeds. These are going to be 11 speeds here. So orbital, left my other one on the course. I got to go pick it up. Orbital, super flippy. No numbers on it. It's a pre-flight number. -4 turn, -5 turn. They're really flippy. I use that for rollers or other weird stuff. If my snap's really good on for the day, I can jump up to the orbital versus the Tesla. But if I don't have enough power for the day, I can't get that orbital to flip. Lane King Fission Photon. This is the only signature disc like this out of MVP's lineup. The Fission Photons are generally not as overstable as the Lane Kings. These ones are a little bit more overstable. This is max weight. Well, close to max weight. I like this disc, even though it's -1.525. It hooks up. I can really push on it with a forehand, or if I need a little bit more hyzer and headwind fighting, that's what I use that for. That's why it's in there. Wave is the driver I get out when I'm throwing good. So if I was to just eliminate discs from my bag to get rid of extra stuff, it'd be the Photon and the Wave. And I'd stick straight with my Teslas and my inertia and my lift. And that's because there are days that I throw a little bit better, and I think you should not go too far above your range punching up, but Wave is an amazing driver. I have a utility disc. This is the only 13 speed in my bag. This is an energy. See that meme where you throw and the disc goes really hard to the side? Yeah, that's this disc. This is a utility disc. I throw skip shots. They're one of my favorite shots in the game. That's why the lift is in, or the energy's in here. That's another reason I have the deflector and a couple other overstable stuff. I love, wow. That was really funny to look at on camera because I'm looking at the camera because I can't look at the, yeah. I could pull this disc from my bag and play rounds just fine. So I recognize why this is in my bag. This is a utility disc. This is my get out of jail disc. This is my trick shot disc. It's in there. This disc could easily come out. This is a prototype Proton Flare. The general Flare is very flat topped. This is not. You probably can see it in the camera there. Gives it a little bit more glide and it gives it a little bit more controllability. I'm kind of testing this to see how I like it versus the energy. That's why it's in my bag. So if I throw an energy shot and I'm not playing as serious, I'll get the Flare out and I'll throw the same shot with the Flare and see how it performs and stacks up against it. This is an 11 speed super overstable while the Flare's a 13 speed super overstable. So why would you go through your bag and do it in the bag? You want to justify at least to yourself why you're throwing that, and if you have stuff in your bag that you're not using, you want to get rid of it. It's extra weight to carry. You don't need to be carrying extra weight. It makes you tired at the end of the round. Do I need to carry all the Teslas that I do? No. But I've got a max weight Tesla, I've got a 160 class, and I've got 150 classes. And the reason for that is when you're throwing discs all day, it's a lot easier to throw 150 classes if you can than it is to throw max weight all the time. Throwing a lighter disc does not make you a sissy, it makes you smarter. So learning when to throw those discs or when you shouldn't throw those discs is something that'll help improve your game as well. So don't be afraid to throw light discs. They'll be easier on you, they're easier to get speed, they're easier to manipulate as well, because that little extra snap that you might need to get that disc to perform the way the rating is might be because you're trying to throw a 175 versus a 160. So that's something to think about. My gosh, this is 19 minutes. Probably all the coffee drinking. So that's my bag. I try to have a justification for all the things. I mold limit. I also try to think of if I'm going to pull things out of my bag and go for a round with what discs, can I pull those out of my bag or do I need to go and reach for something else on the shelf? So the benefit of having extra discs, if you do have the money, is if something's not working in your game, you need to pull those discs that are not working in your game. If you got a disc that you use maybe once every 50 shots, you need to get that out of your bag. It's not doing you any good. So I use all these discs in my bag, not necessarily in one round, but in a couple rounds, every one of those discs will be used. And that's why I have them in there. And luckily where I live, there's also quite a mix of different courses. Got wooded courses, open courses, tight courses, lots of really cool things. And so I make my bag a little bit more versatile to hit those different courses. If you're playing the same course all the time and that's the only course you ever play and you don't ever visit any other courses, if you don't throw the disc, get it out of there. Learn to throw the shot with a different disc. You'll probably end up throwing it better. And that's what I have to say about that. So if you make it in the bag, you don't have to share it with anybody. I'm going to share it with everybody here because I want people to try to get their bags more squared away. And I'll try to do some more videos on it at some other time. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to trust me. You can do whatever you want. You can make fun of me in the comments down below because do it. I do have more content that I'm going to push out. I'm going to push it out on my new channel because I want to make a disc golf only channel. I'm going to redo some of my other stuff, like my Delta Cart review, so people know you can't buy the Delta Cart anymore. I'm not going to get any drama on it because drama is drama. The bag over here behind me, I reviewed that. I still use it. I still love it. I just don't like the logo that's on it. I've got a couple other bags that I want to review still. I'm running out of money to buy bags. I mean, I know there's some great bags on the market, but I don't have $300 to buy your bag. Anything else? I do have some series coming up. I'm going to do how to practice better as a series that I want to do. I'm not going to do form stuff, just so you know, on the new channel. There's going to be no form stuff. I'm not a form expert. I am an average disc golfer, 850 to 900 rated, if I was to even have an accurate rating. I'm trying to be a scratch golfer. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be anything super amazing. I want to play my game, and I want my game to be as consistent as possible. And that's what's important to me. So if you have a goal while you're playing disc golf, set those goals. My goal is to be basically a scratch golfer. I want to be consistently known for always shooting even or better. I don't really want to be the guy that shoots 10 down every round because nobody wants to play with you anyways. Actually go and play with better people. Look at how they design their bag. If you got some 1,000 rated players in your area like I do, check their bag out, see what they're throwing. One of our better players in the area, he carries like 6 discs in his bag. Not really brand myopic on his bag, but oh my gosh, I know, I'm coming soon. I'm making a video because I'm waiting on you guys to tell me where we're going to go play. Anyways, you don't need a big bag full of discs. That's all I'm trying to get at here. And make sure the discs that you take are discs that you love and trust. If you're not throwing them, get them out. I'm throwing all my discs. I have a reason and purpose for all my discs. I love to throw rollers. I love to throw really weird shots. And I don't need to have a whole bunch of understable stuff in my bag. If you notice, I have like 2, 3 understable discs. I can throw forehand and backhand. So I can stay more with straight stable and overstable to get my shot selection out. Well, some people who might only throw backhand or forehand need a little bit more ability there. And don't be afraid to throw in a disc and try stuff. I always try to keep at least one disc in my bag that's a trial disc. That way I can revisit discs that I might have thrown before, not liked. I might have thrown before and loved, but grew out of favor with it. The Flare right now is my trial disc. A lot of these other discs behind me, I've thrown them. I've got a complete collection of MVP. Well, except for like the 3 new discs. My pocketbook's gonna like cry this year. All right, guys, the new channel is gonna be TN Disc Sports. I will have more content up there, but with the fun stuff we have going on, that's probably gonna be a little bit because it's a little bit harder to afford the microphones that I need to make better content outside. I've got a really nice microphone here on the desk, but I'm not taking that on the disc golf course. So Now, once I get some microphones, I can do those how to play better or how to practice better videos. I've got those written up. But so if you got any lavalier mics that you don't need, I gotta get a lavalier wireless setup. I don't want to do voiceovers. I want to try to get you guys quality audio. So hopefully this audio sounds good. Can't say the video is the greatest because it's a really expensive webcam, but I should probably shut up and go. See y'all.